Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Hi, hello, my name is Loey. It has been so freaking long since I have sat down in my own office in Georgia and been able to film in my normal backdrop where I sit on the floor instead of my nice couch. I feel like I have been such a busy bee recently, you guys. It has been absolutely crazy. So if you've stayed tuned to this channel or my vlog channel, well, actually, my vlog channel is nowhere near up to date. Regardless, I'm sure a lot of you have seen that I have not been home in quite a while. So after pretty much sleeping for 2 days nonstop, because I feel like I'm finally getting a little bit sick this winter, you can kind of hear it in my voice. I feel like, knock on wood, I hope I'm not. To celebrate Christmas Eve, I thought what better way than to come on here and talk to you all about some of your scariest paranormal Christmas stories. I thought I could read another Reddit story and talk about something like that, but it would be so much more fun to just tell you guys some of our fellow Loey Bugs horror stories. If you guys ever have a story that you'd like me to tell on my channel, then you can always shoot me an email to LoeyLaneStorytime@gmail.com, and that is where I read through you guys' stories and pick my favorite ones to tell on my channel. Without any further ado, bundle up, put on some fuzzy socks, get a warm cup of hot cocoa or coffee or tea, and let's talk about some super creepy Christmas stories. This first story is a little bit short, but comes from Miranda, who says that last Christmas her family was in a bit of a rough patch. Her parents were fighting a lot. She was feeling very conflicted and confused about the whole thing, so she chose to actually leave home during the holiday season and go stay with her sister. So her dad drives her to her sister's house, but when he comes home, he's astonished to find that there is a single gift neatly wrapped under the Christmas tree, and apparently he was the only one there and no one else could have just placed it there. Now that's where she leaves it off by simply saying nothing had been wrapped, there was no one home at the time, and there was just a single gift wrapped under the tree, and to this day it creeps her dad out. What I'm very curious about is what was in the box. Was it just one of the presents laying around? Was it something interesting? Was it just an empty box? Did the present magically disappear? Was it from Santa himself? I would be very intrigued to know what was in that box, and I don't know what happened from there. Our next story is from Megan, who quickly prefaces the story by letting us know that she is from a part of Northern California supposedly known for their apples. Every year on December 23rd, her grandmother's best friend would throw a party, and her grandmother's best friend did not just live in any old house. She lived in a house that was over 100 years old. It was a Victorian house, absolutely beautiful, but it wasn't just even a super old house. It was once the first hospital in the town. When Megan was younger, her mom would tell her some of the ghost stories of the home, such as a young boy playing ball, running up and down the hallways. Sometimes a woman would be heard crying, and apparently a man could sometimes be heard screaming from the upstairs. And so Megan never wanted to go to that house. Like, she absolutely refused to go. It was super creepy, super old, but it was obviously her grandmother's best friend. So she went to the parties at this house, but she would never ever go upstairs. That was like her limit. She did not want to go up there. It was way too creepy. One year in particular, I guess it was last year, she got a little bit brave when her cousin practically begged Megan and her sister to go upstairs because she was just desperate to see what it looked like. So the three of them went upstairs together, and when they were up there, they had the craziest paranormal experience. How Megan describes this is that all of the lights just went off out of nowhere. A cold rush just brushes right past them, like this big gust of ice cold air rushes past them, and then all of the lights come on. Needless to say, all three of them were absolutely freaking terrified because no one was near any light switches, so no one had an opportunity to turn them off. No windows were open, nothing. It seemingly came from nowhere. So they all quickly exited the upstairs, and she concludes her email by saying she will never ever go up there again. That is super duper creepy, and I can't imagine having to visit such like a haunted house every single Christmas season. That would be absolutely terrifying, and I wish we could see what it looks like, because I'm sure a home that used to be a hospital is very interesting to say the least. This next story is from Bethany, and I wanted to read her email to you guys so you could get the full effect here. I promise it's so worth it. She says, hi, hello. Her name is Bethany. I'm a 23-year-old wife and a mother of 2. I live in North Carolina and I binge watch your videos every chance I get. I love you so much. Thank you. And this is her creepy Christmas story. At around 3 a.m. on Christmas morning, I woke up hearing our dog barking and footsteps. I remember not wanting to get out of bed in case it was Santa. I was 7 years old, so I stayed in bed and fell back asleep. The next morning when I got up, my dad looked confused. He was holding a piece of red cloth in his hands. He asked me if I had given it to my dog, Sandy. I told him no, and we soon got started with the Christmas fun. I honestly hadn't thought about that Christmas until my dad recently brought it up. He explained to me that that night that I woke up, a man dressed as Santa was arrested 2 houses down from ours, trying to kidnap their daughter. When he found out, he went to the police station, which explained why he was late to Granny's party. He told them about the cloth and our dog, and the police investigated our house and told us that someone had picked the lock on the outside door. Needless to say, I miss my dog Sandy even more. That is such a chilling story, and I cannot even begin to understand how scary that would be for her parents. Oh my God, to know that somebody was literally arrested dressed as Santa. That's some next level horror stuff. That reminds me of that awful episode of American Horror Story from season 2 where one of the people in the psych ward used to dress up as Santa and do awful things. So sorry, Santa, I'll see you later. Our next story is from a subscriber named Lexington, who says that this story happened to her a few Christmases back, and it was about 2 days away from Christmas. Now, Lexington was staying at her best friend, who we'll call Amy's house, and Amy lived in a pretty secluded part of their area, kind of up in the mountains and relatively far out of the way. You know those areas where it's your neighbor is at least 3 miles away from you? That's basically where her friend Amy lived. So she and Amy are having this sleepover, and Amy's parents were out at a Christmas party and were not supposed to be back until 1 or 2. So of course Amy's dad left them some money so that they could order a pizza. So I bet those 2 girls were stoked, having the best time. They had the whole house to themselves. Amy's sister was even out of the house, so they had this whole big house to themselves, and they ordered that pizza. They turned off all the lights and decided to have a Harry Potter marathon, which is the best Christmas tradition. I don't care what anybody says. All of the lights were off and they were cozied up ready to watch their movie when suddenly the doorbell rang. And they just sort of looked at each other because they had only ordered the pizza 10-ish minutes before that. And again, Amy lives in a very middle of nowhere part of town, so there was no way that the pizza guy had gotten there in that short of time. So they were slowly tiptoeing towards the door, kind of unsure of who it is. Maybe it's Amy's parents and they forgot something. Maybe it's her sister coming back early. When they finally reach the door, Amy just kind of slowly looks outside of the window, gives Lexington sort of a weird look, and then she opens the door to find a neatly wrapped gift on the front step. Now, Lexington thought maybe it was just a gift from Amy's boyfriend or something like that, but Amy was very, very unsettled, and upon asking what was wrong, according to Amy, we haven't gotten a present from him in 5 years. And Lexington is who are you talking about? But her friend is just beside herself. Amy is why now? Why now? Just so freaked out over this present. So Lexington closes the door, gets Amy into the kitchen, gets her some water, tries to calm her down and get her to start talking, because at this point she just literally has no idea what's going on. This is where things got crazy. And according to Lexington, Amy then begins to tell her story about how for 3 years straight, her family was receiving gifts from an anonymous person. There would be a gift wrapped on the porch every single year, with the first gift being a little chocolate keychain. And the family didn't really know who it was. They didn't know if it was a relative, a neighbor, somebody just leaving a present on their doorstep trying to be cute. But 4 months later, Amy's baby cousin almost died because he ate a piece of chocolate. He was only 4 months old, and he was deathly allergic to chocolate. And so the whole family was just sort of floored by this, just very freaked out, very unsettled, didn't really know how to even feel about the situation. Well, the next year, they received a boat keychain on their doorstep. That year, Amy's dad broke his arm in a boating accident. So once again, they were just sort of This is getting really weird, and it almost seemed like these weird little gifts that were being left outside correlated with really bad events that were happening throughout the year. So the whole family is kind of just dreading what comes the following Christmas. And sure enough, they get another gift on the doorstep, this time being a small baseball keychain. This time Amy's family was like, we have nothing to worry about. Nobody here plays baseball, we're fine. But that year, in the summer, Amy's best friend's little brother was struck in the chest by a baseball and died due to a rupture. And so the whole family was just devastated. So the final year that they received a gift, they actually did not open the present. Amy's father simply threw it away and was like, we're not opening this, absolutely not. But somebody kept leaving a gift on their doorstep, and they absolutely could not get rid of it. Every single day, Amy's father would throw it away, and every single day, another gift would show up. Until Amy was finally like, I have got to open this. So she opens it up to find it is an exact replica of the gift box. It was a tiny little keychain, an exact replica of the gift, and upon showing her parents, Amy's parents were just livid, like absolutely so mad that she would even open this gift. And she was like, I'm sorry, I'll go throw it away. As she was throwing it into the trash outside, a car spun out of control and hit her. And she doesn't remember much except waking up in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. And she spent 2 nights there with a concussion and a broken knee. And at that point, her parents were just like, screw this, we're out of here. They basically up and moved to this house seemingly in the middle of nowhere. And it had been like a few years since the last gift. So the entire family thought they were safe, thought this was over, until just then when Amy had checked the front doorstep to find another anonymous package. So Lexington is just sitting there absolutely floored, like doesn't even know what to say at this point, is just taking all of this information in and realizing the depths at which this tiny insignificant gift actually goes to. And that's when Amy opens the gift, and I can only imagine that the 2 girls were probably terrified at this point. But inside of the box is a small jar of honey on a keychain. And the thing is that Lexington is deathly allergic to honey. She wanted to scream and jump in her car, but was frozen in place by how terrified she felt. Lexington said she no longer goes to Amy's house, and Amy only comes to her house now, and that she is absolutely terrified of all honey, even more than she already was. And she says she doesn't know if Amy was pranking her or not because nothing bad has happened to her yet. But all she knows is she is just terrified to see another jar of honey. That was a really long story, and I don't entirely know if that one is true or not, but it definitely made for an interesting read, and I definitely want to know all of you guys' opinions on these scary Christmas stories down below. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you all so very much, and I will see you in my next video.